All right, you guys, welcome back to the Crybabies podcast. Guys, I've got some special news. We have our very first guest on the Crybabies podcast, so that is exciting. You know me, you know Dorsey, and we wanted to introduce Jez to you guys. For those of you who don't know him, you probably know him from the Here and Now podcast. Um, I believe he's been on. Have you been on Tonight with Taco yet?
No, hopefully I get the call. 'Cause I want
Okay.
to,
Yeah, I know he said he had that planned too. Am I missing anything, Jez?
I also do open window now with
That's
Pan.
right. That's right. Okay, I couldn't think of the name. Open window with Pan as well. Hopefully we'll get Pan on here one day too. That'll be
Oh
exciting.
my god.
That'll be something else that I'd have to mentally prepare myself for that. But yeah, we're here and we wanted to do a little bit of a different type of episode today. Normally, we do kind of like a sex positive, pro women, pro queer type of that type
Yeah.
of vibe. That's more of an 18 plus type of deal. Today we're switching it up a little bit, just because me, Dorsey, and Jez have all are either currently in college or recently graduated. So we just wanted to take a little bit to talk about college, our experiences, just some story times, some discussions, maybe some advice for those of you who are coming up on college. So this is not a strictly 18 plus episode like we normally do. Um, there may be like a little bit of a content warning later on for some sensitive subjects, but we will give you a warning before we talk about that type of stuff. So, yeah. Anything else you guys want to say in that introduction?
I'm just happy to be here.
Nice.
We happy to have you.
Uh,
Yes. So excited. Okay. So let's dive into our first topic. Jez, what do you have for us?
okay, so as we all know, going from high school to college is a really big step and takes a lot of, scholarships, applications, maybe SAT, ACT. Maybe you're applying to a specific program, whether it be like a medical program, an engineering program, whether you're trying to go into a 4-year college or a 2-year college, which is a community college. Maybe you're trying to go into a trade school. Who knows, right? Maybe you're trying to go overseas. So there's a lot of different things that goes into going into college, and I kind of wanted to pinpoint three main topics, and then as Sarah and Dorsey can kind of jump in, give their takes on it, and give their I guess different experiences on it as well. So my
Oh,
first one was when a lot of high school teachers, like I guess like more of the I guess like AP teachers, if you had AP teachers, would try to tell you that college is way harder than like what it really seems like, and they'll sit there and be like, ah, see, I'm trying to make my class right now really difficult to prepare you for college, even though that's oh, I guess it's like maybe I guess it depends, but at least for me, majority of the time, college has been a lot more straightforward and not as hard as high school teachers made it out to seem. So now I think I'm a sophomore right now. This is my second year, my fourth semester, and I won't say it's been a breeze, but like it is not as hard as they like made it out to be. Like a lot of the teachers are really chill, really relaxed. Most of the time, they be canceling class for just the drop of a whim. Like they really don't give a fuck. If I'm being honest. Um,
my my
yeah,
experience, I think it really is like college professors kind of they don't follow like a strict curriculum, like high
yeah,
school teachers, they are given curriculum by the state and they're saying like, "Oh, if you don't teach this curriculum, then, you're going to be fired or whatever." So it's a lot more strict about what they have to teach, where college professors, it's just they make their own tests and stuff, so they get to kind of, teach what they want. And in my experience, I have had a lot of professors that are like that. I had one that just like put on an episode of Modern Family in class one day, and she was like, "Hey, I'm not feeling it. If you want to stay and watch Modern Family with me, you can. If not, you can leave." And that was really chill. But some of them, I feel like, are the same as high school, where they take their job a little bit too seriously. I was telling Dorsey earlier, I had one professor who um, had us do three tests in a semester, and each test was worth 30% of your grade. So
What?
only 10% was homework and stuff. So if you failed like one test or even didn't do good on one test, then you basically had to fail the class and retake it. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a lot of basically whatever they want. If you have a chill professor, it's going to be super chill, but you do sometimes get those professors that are, I don't know, take their job way too seriously. But yeah, it's not near as bad as high school teachers make it out to be, I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't think that I've ever had like a really hard professor.
Lucky
Most of
ass.
them it's
Right?
I'm not lucky at all. One of my professors would literally often get our grades wrong, and I had to repeatedly email him to fix my grade and show
Oh,
proof that I did some work in order for him
lucky.
to fix it. And he barely ever responded to emails. I hated that man. I basically taught myself. So I honestly have only ever had like chill professors or professors who did not care.
Oh,
Because I
I
Like,
did have one professor that would not. I feel like she didn't check the work because regardless of what I did, I always got a 100, and I thought that was weird.
ooh, I kind I do kind of love teachers like that though.
yes, sir.
I just realized that we haven't really gone into where we are in our college careers yet. So,
Uh,
for me personally, I did a couple of dual enrollment classes in high school, which you should definitely do if they offer, as opposed to AP. Um, and so, because of that, I got to graduate college a semester early, and it was um, I mean, it wasn't just that. It was like, a lot of overload semesters, a lot of like summer semesters and stuff like that too. But I did a year and a half at a local community college, and then I did my other 2 years at an online college. So I didn't really have like, your typical college dorm room experience. And I feel like it was a little bit harder online because, like Dorsey said, um, in some situations you do kind of have to teach yourself. And I feel like with online classes, you see that a lot more. But Jez, you said you were a sophomore, right?
yeah.
Okay,
So,
nice.
so I'm in like well, I guess to be specific, I'm in a 6 year program for pharmacy. So it's like an accelerated program. So I think it typically takes like 8 years, but now this
Oh
is
my
six, of
God.
course. So even though I am a sophomore, uh, I'm going into pharmacy school in the fall instead of doing 2 more years of prereqs. I kind of get to skip that and go straight into the pharmacy school. Only downside is that if you don't finish the pharmacy school, you kind of just look left out in the wind
Yeah.
because not only did you only finish 2 years, which doesn't qualify you for anything, like not an associate's, not anything. You also didn't finish your pharmacy school either. So it's like now it's like you just did all those 2 years of work, maybe 1 year of pharmacy school for nothing. So
And is
it's
that
like give and take.
is that like an in-person school? You go in
Yeah,
person, right? Do you live in a dorm room?
no, I think at least for my school, it's a private school because of the program. So I mean, even if you go into a public school, like dorming is really expensive, and a lot
Yeah,
like nowadays, not a lot of college students or their parents can afford to pay that. So
right. Not unless you have like some of those special scholarships that want to cover like housing and stuff too. I know they're
yeah,
they're few and far between. And Dorsey,
hell yeah.
what year are you in?
For my school, I go to a 2-year school, but technically it's been 3 years for me because I've been taking my time and taking less classes
Mm.
during the last few months. So technically I'm a junior, but I mean it's a 2-year school, so whatever. But my school does not have dorms since mine is a 2-year school. And hmm, yeah, that's it. That's really it,
Okay, so
honestly.
none of
I'm
us have lived
almost
in a
done.
dorm room.
Hell no. I feel like
Oh,
that's a thing of the
sadly no.
past. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I for a long time I feel like my mom kind of pushed that on me. Like she said that, it was such a crazy experience like having to live with a stranger and having them become your best friend and blah blah blah. I don't know, she really like romanticized that part of college for me. And so
Yeah.
when I chose a community college, she was like, "Oh, that's fine. You can go live in a dorm your last 2 years." And then the last 2 years, I chose an online program. And she was like, "Okay, well." Okay. But I'm kind of glad I didn't because I feel like if I did, that would have just been so much more money and I would have gone into debt and stuff. And I don't know, especially now with like TikTok, see a lot of like problems with it. Like the dining hall plans, and you don't really get a
Yeah.
kitchen and stuff, so you kind of have to rely on the school for food. I don't know. There's just a lot of things. I feel like I'm too much of a control freak to give up that much control to my school about my life?
No, I
Yeah,
definitely agree.
I feel like the appeal of dorm rooms are they've kind of shifted ever since like COVID and everything because the main reason people even wanted dorms was like, oh, because you could go to parties and stuff like that. And they wanted like independence from their parents. But ain't nobody really going to parties like that no more. I mean, some people are, but
Yeah, some people, but not nearly like it was pre-COVID.
yeah, because like I remember back in high school, sometimes when we were talking about the schools that we wanted to go to, we would describe some of them as party schools because that's
Yes.
mainly what the school is known for.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. So many of my friends, or not really my friends, but I guess other people in my grade, whenever they would bring up like, "Oh, I'm going to so and so school," even the teachers would be like, "Oh, yeah, you just wanted to go there because it's a party school, right?" Like everyone knew like what kind of reputation certain schools had.
Yeah, and it was like kind of very annoying because like wait, no, UGA is like considered a party school, but it's also like somewhat of a prestigious school. So you
Yeah,
got
it's pretty
those
hard to get
types
into.
too. So it's like, I mean, sometimes it's a party thing. For others, they really just want to like further their education.
Yeah.
It definitely
Um,
depends.
I feel like we got a little bit off topic, but that's okay. But Jez, did you have I feel like I kind of interrupted you in what you were saying about the difference between how high school teachers perceive college and what college is actually like.
And I think your example kind of summed it up pretty well. It's just like because I guess for me in high school, I had a lot of teachers who were just way too hard on us. Like they would like be making us cry during our lunch periods because the way they would be treating us. I remember one time there was like a I don't think it was my class. I think it was like the class that like across from us, and they had like some project that was worth like 30% of the grade, and he like failed all of them, and they all came into lunch and they were just bawling their eyes out. I've never seen something like that. Like, it was like the most depressing thing ever. We were like the people who didn't have that class were trying to like console them, like it's gonna be okay. And it was just like it was just like a really bad thing. But then you get to college, and like you said, you have teachers who are just like, yeah, let's just watch Modern Family. Who gives a fuck
Yeah.
about today? So it's just like don't take what they say to heart. Just take it with a grain of salt. Like college is harder, obviously. It is a higher form of education, but don't think it's some like end all be all because it's not.
Yeah.
I promise you, it's not.
Don't let those like stories scare you out of going to college.
Yeah,
That was like the summer between my senior year and my first year of college. I was so nervous. When like my younger friends started going back to school, like for their senior year or whatever, I would get so nervous because I didn't have anyone to talk to in the day, and my brain would just like
mm,
kind of go on a tangent, and I would be so worried. Like, what if I don't do good? What if I fail? What if my professors don't like me? What if I get like lost in the school building? Like, I don't know. There was just so much anxiety, and looking back on it now, I stressed myself out so much for reasons that weren't even an issue once I started college.
it's definitely to think about. I think that kind of goes to the next one about is college even required? And like we said before, it's like college is something that you really need to take it to, like I guess to heart, or and then make sure you put like a lot of thought into it, and not just go to college because oh, I have nothing else to do. I might as well go to college, or like my family is telling me to go to college, or whatever the case might be. You need an actual reason to go and have like a plan set out. It doesn't have to be concrete, but like have an idea of why you're going to college for. And
Yeah,
there's a lot of different reasons. I know like y'all just said that like a lot of people want to go to school to party and stuff like that. I don't think that's a good reason, but I mean that is a reason. Someone to become doctors, someone to become engineers, computer scientists, or whatever the case might be, lawyers, whatever. Just have a plan relatively. Because if you go into college and you're wasting all that money, You might be dorming, like all kinds of things like that. Like Sarah said, like the food there is not all the time great. There's a lot of
Yeah,
things that are like cons that you're just going there just because like I don't know what else to do. I might as well just go to college. You're
or if
honestly
your
wasting your
friends are
time.
going. I've seen a lot of people do that. They choose their college based on where their best friend is going. Don't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
You have
Please
so
don't
many
do that.
opportunities to make new friends, and it's great to keep in touch with your high school friends and stuff like that, but you definitely cannot make major life decisions based on their life decisions.
It's really like I remember. I know like I was trying to go to one school because a lot of my people, my friends were going there. But I asked, and then I ended up choosing this program that I am in now, and like hearing the stories about that other school and how bad that school is, I'm like, I'm really glad I didn't go because like Dorsey said, like during COVID and stuff, the school was treating them poorly, like very, very poorly. And I live in Texas as well. So when we had the freeze last February, when like everything just shut down for us for a month, like the people in the dorms were suffering. They had like no water. The food closed down, of course, because the school closed down. So there was no food. Light was on and off. Like it was just like it was a whole hassle for them. I don't know. And that's another thing as well for the COVID thing, going back to that. They forced them to, at least that school particularly, they forced them to go to school during like when COVID was still pretty high. They didn't have online. So it
Oh
was
my
like
God.
yeah, it was like really, really bad. So we were like no, we were at home like doing online school. I mean, I'm not saying online school is the best, but it was the safest. And
Right.
they're at school in person, like risking their lives every day for, this half-assed college, which is it's never that serious. So there's a lot of reasons why I'm glad I didn't go to that school. So don't choose your college based on your friend, maybe a significant other, whatever the case might be. Not even for your parents. Maybe your parents want you to go to a specific college, but you want to go to another one. Go to the one that you want to go to, or at least try to at least. But
Yeah,
yeah,
100%. Because I feel like for like me, it wasn't really my friends. It was more so like my parents and kind of like a legacy type thing. Because my
hmm
grandmother and my mom, they both went to NYU. And when I was living in New York, I was planning on going to NYU. But things kind of changed once I moved. And when those plans changed, I was kind of frazzled. I wasn't prepared for it because I just always expected, oh, I would stay in New York and I would go to NYU. So, like, yeah, even if your parents want you to go someplace, please make sure to thoroughly research where you want to go because sometimes things change and things are harder. So, just be sure to like pay attention to what you want, not what anyone else wants.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
Another
thoroughly.
thing, I know when I had like a lot of teachers who were kind of like, I don't know, the type that, how do I say this? Like they really put education above everything, and they treated the kids in honors way better than the kids in like remedial, those types of teachers. And they would use things um like, oh, he's going to be a gas station attendant, he's going to be a construction worker all his life, and stuff like that as like a demeaning thing. And that's ridiculous. Like, we need those people in our society for our society to function. Construction
Yeah,
jobs, they pay super well, and you don't need college for that. If you want to be a construction worker and not go to college, that's fantastic. Especially, you don't even need a college degree to like work your way up through the ranks, and become like, head of the operation or whatever. All you got to do is like put in the years, put in the time. There are so many great opportunities that don't involve college. So don't think that like if you don't go to college, you're screwed. You're never going to have a career.
yeah. Never think.
True.
I think during COVID as well, we saw that because a lot of people who worked during like at grocery stores, fast food workers, they were needed. They started getting paid like what $5, $6 more per hour because people were finally realizing how crucial these people are to society. I guess it might not be the most extensive education needed jobs, but they are very much needed for society to run. Imagine if you went to a fast food place and there was no workers there, or you went to a grocery store and there was no clerks, no people working the register, no anything. You can't get anything. So there should never be, I guess, like looking down upon, like, you're going to be working at McDonald's when you grow older. Well, this other person over here is going to become a doctor. They're both needed. Yes, they're needed in different reasons, but they're both still needed. So don't feel required to go to college like, if I want to be successful, I want to do this. don't feel required to go to college for that reason at all. Because I promise you, if you just go to college just to just do whatever and just feel like, oh, if I don't go to college, I'm a failure. You're gonna fail even harder. And then if you just stayed out of college and figured out what you want to do with your life. So yeah.
Yeah, if you go to college thinking that you should have to go and you're forced to go because of what society says, it's going to be a lot harder on you, especially when you don't get the grades that you want. It's
Yeah.
probably going to very much hurt your mental
Yeah.
health.
Grades, I mean, grades are people's lives, bro. I had to get out of that mindset in high school. I was like, grades were running my life for a while. And then it was
Yeah.
like getting a C or even getting a B was to that point. It was like I felt like such a failure. Like now I'm a lot better now. Now I'm like C's get degrees, so I don't give a fuck anymore. But
I
before it
had
was like Jesus.
a particular academic scholarship that's only available in my state. And I think Dorsey might probably know what I'm talking about. But the way it worked was if you graduated high school with a 3.5 GPA, I think, then it would cover a certain percent of your tuition, like it was guaranteed to you. And then you had to keep like a 3.0 or higher throughout college for you to keep that scholarship. And
Mhm.
at first, I was doing great. I was making A's and B's. I was like, this is cool. And then I left community college and started going to a 4 year university where I started doing like my major classes, like my management, my employee law, like, like the harder classes. And it was online. And dude, everything just went downhill. I started making like C after C, and I just started watching my GPA slowly drop. And I started like freaking out. I was like, dude, if I lose this scholarship, I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford to stay in college. So, and I just feel like that's a really big thing for someone as young as me to have to stress about. You know what I mean? So, it definitely was, some unnecessary stress that you can avoid if you, do end up choosing to go a different route other than college.
Yeah.
It's not
I
all
think
that
like
it's cracked up to be.
I think like Dorsey said, really thoroughly look at your college. Like there's a lot of things that play into part. Like Dorsey said, when she moved out of NYC to wherever she's living now, out of state fees, especially for colleges like NYU, are very very expensive. It's not the same as like living inside the state and going to NYU. Let's say you live in like Texas or like Florida. If you're trying to go to NYU, it's going to be like probably 10, 20K, maybe even 30K more. Especially if you're going to be dorming with meal plans and things like that, maybe transportation, it's going to be a lot more. So take that into account a lot. That's why, like Sarah did, going to community college and then like transferring into a 4 year, it saves a lot of money. Maybe going into a trade school if you want to just get like just get like a specific trade that guarantees you a job
Like
after college.
plumbing or like electricianing.
Yeah,
Those are good paying
yeah, all
jobs.
that stuff.
Speaking of out of
They are
state,
needed.
speaking of out of state tuition, that's something that really never made sense to me about why out of state was so much more expensive than in state tuition. Like, so if you want to go to Harvard, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't know what state Harvard's in. I feel like I should know. It's probably like Connecticut or something. I have no idea.
Yeah, some New England state.
Right. And I feel like all the Ivy Leagues are in the North. So
Yeah.
if you want to go to an Ivy League, then you're going to have to pay significantly less money than someone who's coming from the South. You know what I mean? And so I feel
Hmm.
like that puts people in the North or people in the same state as whatever Ivy League you want to go to at an unfair advantage as opposed to people in the South. And I feel like people in the North already kind of have this image of people from the South that's like, they're everyone in the South is a bigot, everyone in the South is uneducated, they're just dumb hillbillies, whatever. And granted, we do have some dumb hillbillies down here,
Oh
but
yeah,
we're not all like that. And I don't know. I just feel like that is kind of an unfair thing. Um, but
that's true.
I don't know. Nothing can be done about it.
I never thought about that. That's true. That's very very true actually. I think that kind of to I guess finish off with like my third topic would be like the whole thing about college life. And like as we said before, there are party schools where people just go to just to party. And there's other schools that like are very prestigious, like not even like Ivy League level, but there's like others like maybe like Rice University, which is in Texas, and then like they're not like Ivy League, but they're still pretty prestigious and really focus on their education. So I guess it just depends, but I will say college life is what you make of it. Like for me right now, I don't really talk to people in my school. I barely have friends. Like I have like my lab partners and things like that. I do talk to people like occasionally, but it's never more than just maybe like talk about school and like grades and like studying and things like that. If I'm being honest, like I
Right.
know like I really should try to get out more and talk to people and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just don't really feel inclined to. But that's why it's like it's really what you make it. Because if you talk to a lot of people and try to make those friendships and those connections, you might have like a pretty good college life in terms of like not even just necessarily partying, but just having friends and being able to go out to eat, catch a movie, things like that. Or you can be kind of more reserved, like I am, and just be like, I just kind of going here to get my education and like and that's it. But it just
Yeah.
depends.
And it really depends on, like you said, what type of person you are. If you're more introverted and really just, want to focus on your education, then that's great. Don't. I feel like a lot of people get like the fear of missing out, and so they
Yeah.
see. I got a lot of that in college. Like I'd see people like going to these parties and like having close friends and, even like Greek life, like sororities and fraternities and stuff like that. And I kind of felt like maybe I was missing out on something. But now that I'm older, um, I feel like even if I did have that opportunity to do stuff like that, I don't think it really would have appealed to me. I think I just kind of wanted it at the time because I couldn't have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing about college is that majority of everything about it is romanticized. Like
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Oh, you get to make a bunch of friends. Oh, you get to go to parties. Oh, you get to somewhat live on your own in a dorm with a stranger." But like for
Hmm.
me at least, I don't have a reason to stay at school because my classes are like I have like one or two classes a day, and there's no real reason for me to stay at school because they would be at like different times. So I would have to just leave because there's honestly nothing much at my school for me to do. So I don't have a lot of friends for that reason either. But that doesn't bother me. It makes my school life isn't I don't think my school life is bad in comparison to someone who's out there partying and making friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like all three of us are kind of on the more reserved end of the spectrum, um, where maybe we don't socialize as much as our peers, but we're kind of content with that.
Yeah, most definitely.
So, yeah. Like Dorsey said, I think Sarah said it too. Like, I can't imagine dorming with someone and like living with some like random stranger. I know, like I think the main thing that like makes like like this makes it so like sparkly and spontaneous is like this the media. Like when we were younger, watching TV like Disney Channel and things like that. Even going into high school, I thought it was gonna be like such a different experience. But then I got to high school, I'm like, bro, this blows. I hate I hate these people. The
Right?
teachers would suck.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing like how the TV was. Like so my first 2 years, I was trying to like make that experience, try to be friends with everybody and do all these things, but now it just kept on backfiring. So much drama. I was like, nah. So like my last 2 years, my junior and senior year, I just stopped. I just kind of kept to myself, kept a close knit group, and I was like, let's just do our thing and just get out of here. So going into college, I was like, nah, I'm not trying to do all that. And like I can't imagine like living with someone brand new you've never met before and just having to like tolerate that. And it's not even like I'm trying to like, I don't know, like just be mean or anything, but like that just sounds crazy. And then some colleges you have to live with multiple roommates, like all in
Yeah.
like one like, very secluded place, and you all have to share a bathroom and stuff. Like, bro, nah, I can't. I really can't. So I'd rather just commute than dorm
Yeah.
any day.
There
It's
was.
kind of funny that you oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you go ahead. You go ahead.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned like Disney Channel and stuff. High School Musical really ruined my life.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. High School Musical set such an unrealistic expectation for everything about your adolescent years.
for real.
What
Jesus
were you gonna
Christ.
say, Sarah?
Yeah, so speaking of like living with people, um, about like halfway through my college career, my parents ended up moving into a house that had like a bigger, living room and kitchen, which is what they wanted. But the bedrooms were just so much smaller, so I didn't have like room to have a desk or anything. And then that's when COVID hit too, so we all had to stay home. And I don't know, it just got really, really crowded. So I made the decision to go ahead and move out, not into like a college dorm or anything like that, just with a girl who I knew from high school who lived on her own and, she was looking for a roommate and stuff. And even that was so like nerve-wracking to me moving in with her. We didn't share a room, we shared a house, we shared a bathroom, a living room and stuff, but I had my own bedroom. But even that was just like so nervous to me, like like constantly having another human being in your space. I don't know. I could not imagine living in a dorm where you have your bed in the same room as someone else's bed, where you have to like basically sleep like 5 feet away from a stranger every night. And I knew this girl too.
Exactly.
Like it wasn't even like she was a stranger. And imagine moving in with like literally someone who you've never met, and that very night you have to sleep 5 feet away from them. What if what
Exactly.
if they're a serial killer? Not, I mean, and don't,
Oh,
don't they're probably not. They're probably
nah,
not.
I got a story. I got a
But
story.
oh yeah, go ahead.
So my friend, my best friend, his cousin, he was rooming with this one guy for like who knows, like probably like a whole semester. So one night, they're all sleeping and stuff. Police come in, banging and stuff, like, oh, like we're here to arrest, just reading out the warrant and stuff. They come in and they arrest the guy who's sleeping right across from him. And this man was arrested for sexual assault and the R word. Like, bro,
Oh
what?
my
It's
God.
like just imagine like rooming with someone who is like bro, I can't even I can't. I can. That's crazy.
I
Like
couldn't imagine that.
the middle of the night. Like it was like 2 a.m. They come in, arrest a dude, read him off his charges. The man's guilty. Like, bro, nah. That's crazy.
That is insane.
No. I
That's
honestly,
crazy.
I think I hear like a lot of stories about that though. Like especially on TikTok, they would just be talking about how crazy their roommates are, and
Yeah.
that when I see those things, I'm like, thank God I live at home. Couldn't be
I
me.
can't, bro. I can't. That's crazy.
I know
That's
it's gonna be
literally
hard, like living with anyone new. That's why, they say like the first year of marriage is hard because you're, living with
mm,
someone who you're not used to living with, and everyone's got their different like habits and stuff and ways of living that they do at home, and you got to get used to it. But I don't know, that an 18-year-old, thrust into a new living situation and a new academic situation and a new just a completely different life basically. I don't know. It's it's scary. Not to say that people shouldn't do it, because it does work out for a lot of people. I've got lots of
yeah.
family members who have loved it, but I don't know. I just feel like it is a rough transition. A lot of people have a really rough first few weeks at college just because of that big change. Like my sister, she had a rough first few weeks. A lot of people I went to high school with, my cousins, they've all like, you know, those first few weeks of like living in the dorms are rough just because you don't know anybody, you want to go home type of thing. But so if you are in that situation, what's worked for pretty much everyone who I've known, just about, they say just literally just push through it, and then after a while you get settled in, and it works out.
That or pay the extra money and get your own dorm. So
Yeah.
but that's a lot of extra money though, I will say. It's like an extra like probably 2, 3, 4, 5K.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, it can be worth it though.
Or maybe even
Yeah,
live off campus if that's, an
Yeah,
option.
it's true.
I had a friend who went into the dorm and he was just in it for a month and sorry, not a month, for a semester, and he just did it for the experience and to have like his own space because he did live with a lot of other people in his original household, and
Mm.
he did it once he got that experience. He never went back. That
Oh
was
my
it.
god.
It wasn't bad. He liked it, but like you guys said, it's a lot of money, and
Yeah.
it was just too much money for something he just wasn't that important about. So to him, so
And that's another thing. It's okay to like try out something to get the experience and then decide you don't like it, and you don't want to do it anymore. When I was in community college, we didn't have like a whole lot of sports going on, but we did have a really good basketball team, which I know a lot of community colleges don't really have opportunities like that. And I have, I did cheerleading when I was like 4 years old, but never in my, teenager years or anything. But I just randomly decided one day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try out for basketball cheerleading. And I did, and I made the team, and I was like super shocked about it. And I went to several practices. I, paid the money for the uniform and everything like that. And just like before like the first game, I was like, I really don't like this. Like I don't vibe with any of the girls. I like, the exercise. I like, the routines and stuff like that. But the coaches are kind of mean. It's taken a lot of time away from like my family, my schoolwork, my actual job, stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? Before that uniform check clears, I'm gonna dip. I'm not gonna. I just don't like it. And I told the coach that I was like, I just don't think I fit in here. And she was like, yeah, that's okay. And it was fine. So it's okay not to like things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was okay. So I think that was like the end of my topics. I think next was kind of going
Yes.
into
Yes.
uh
So kind of wanting to bounce off what you were talking about earlier about the difference between how people perceive college and what college actually is. When it comes to plagiarism, those college professors do not play. Like, they will straight up kick you out of college. So, I have a story, and it starts. I was in like I think it was like English 1102 or something like that. It was like the second semester. Still kind of getting my bearings in college. And I don't know if y'all know, if you watch Apollo streams, you might have heard this name mentioned before, but his roommate Rico. This was
yeah.
before they were roommates, but I knew him from high school. I knew him because he was dating one of my friends at the time. And she had gone to a different school. And so I saw him in one of my classes and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll sit with him just because, he's literally the only person who I knew in that class. And he he is a very different student than I am. I'm much more like quiet and, studious. Just want to barely raise my hand, just kind of, take notes and be quiet in class. And he's more of like a class clown, like I don't know, like not always super respectful of teachers and things like that. And so when I got to college and I started like sitting with him in whatever classes we had together, I feel like professors kind of had this perception of me that's like, Rico's kind of a class clown, not the teacher's favorite type. So I feel like because I sat with him and like was associated with him, maybe teachers didn't like me either, which is weird because like through high school, I was like a teacher's pet, like all through high school. So this was just like a change in dynamic to me. Well, one day we had to write a paper. And I don't know if y'all have ever done like stuff with works cited page or like citing your sources and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
so you know how you have to like do put the quote in quotation marks and then put the source in like parentheses right after the quotation mark?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay. So I had done that and my professor runs all of our papers through like this plagiarism checker that basically like will search the whole internet for, you know, similarities to see if we copied it and didn't give credit and stuff like that. Well,
Mm-hmm.
one day my professor is like, Sarah, I need to see you after class. And I'm like, okay. I didn't really think anything of it because I mean, I knew I didn't plagiarize. I knew that I was like, maybe I wrote a bad paper or something, but it definitely wasn't like dishonest. And so he pulls me into his office, which is like separate from his classroom. It's like an office, like way in the back of the school, like next to the janitor's closets and stuff. And it's like a dark room too. It was like ominous. It was weird. And he was like, Sarah, I know you plagiarized this. And I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? No, I spent hours upon hours on that paper. And he circled something. He was like, this right here is plagiarized. And it was something that was in quotation marks and had the cite, like the parentheses. But the thing is, I did the quotation mark, but I didn't do the end quotation mark. It was
Really?
just a typo. It was just a
No,
typo. The
no
credit was
way.
there. Um, the credit was there. The beginning quotation mark was there. Everything was there except that one little button. I didn't do an end quotation mark. And I proofread that paper too. It just like slipped through. And I tried to explain that to him too. I was like, look, I tried. It literally was just a typo. I don't know what else to tell you. And he was like, yeah, well, I could. take you to the academic court system to like, whatever gets you kicked out of school or whatever. And I was like, "What are you I was so freaked out. I was like shaking. And eventually he was just like, "Okay, look, so we could either do that, we could go through the court system and possibly have you expelled from the school, or I can take 25 points off your grade and you'll make a 75 on the paper." And I was
What?
like, dude, because it was otherwise a really good paper, I thought. And I was so afraid of getting kicked out of school. I didn't know what my mom was going to say. I was like shaking. So I was like, okay, yeah, 75 is fine. It's a C, you know? But now
Hell
looking
no.
back on it, I kind of wish I did go through the court system so I could show the dean, like, look, like I tried. It was just a typo. But so anyway, all that to say is they really, really do not play about plagiarism. I've known multiple classmates to be expelled from school, like expelled from college, period, because they found a paper online and submitted it. Like in high school, you might get a second chance or something like that. In college, they do not play with plagiarism. Like they will straight up, if they think you plagiarized, they will kick you out of school, they will fail you for the class, and then you're out literally thousands of dollars, and you can't go back to college after that. If you get expelled from a college, then no other college will like accept you. So if there's one thing you do need to kind of be wary about in college, please do not plagiarize. It's better to turn in just like a shitty paper that's not good and get like a 50 on it than to plagiarize a good paper and get expelled for it.
That's
What a
crazy.
vile man.
Yeah, he
That's
is.
fine.
Yeah.
Like, really? Like, 'cause I feel like your story was extremely extreme for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, you had everything but the one thing. He I don't know why he even offered the court thing, because I'm pretty sure anyone with a brain would be on your side. Whatever, though.
You
Nah,
would
you
hope
should tell me
so, but
before.
yeah, it's in the past now, but like I kind of do wish I went through all that. I don't know, just so I could be like, please be on my side. But at the same time, I'd be afraid that they would want to automatically take the professor's side no matter what, just because he's a professor and I was like a 19-year-old kid.
The
Oh,
thing is
yeah,
like
exactly.
in that paper, like you probably had like other quotes and stuff like that. So like if they look at the other quotes and then look at that one and go, okay, so she's just missing this one quotation mark. Like
Right.
anyone with a brain cell would have been like, okay, is this man's tripping? He probably like maybe at their school they get like a pension if they get people expelled. I don't know because like he was striving to get you kicked
He
out. Like
was
way,
fiending.
there's no
Yeah.
Yeah,
way.
I
I don't blame you for how you reacted either. Cause like, if
He's
you're
tripped.
put in,
Yeah,
like, a situation where it's just him and you, and you're in, like, a semi-dark room,
Oh
and
yeah,
he is
yeah,
obviously an authoritative figure, you had every right to be terrified,
yeah,
especially since plagiarism is such a, like, a serious thing. I don't blame you for how you reacted. I blame him. Him
yeah.
completely.
he's tripping. That's crazy. That's a crazy story. I would have started crying. I don't know what's going on.
I was close to crying. I feel like once I got back to my car, I think I started crying. I think I actually did, yeah. But
Did
I
you
didn't
tell
want to
your
cry in
mom?
front of him. Well, okay, so I was so nervous. I thought that my mom would have been like mad at me or something for not catching it. So I did end up telling my mom like a year later after the fact, like after I had moved on and gotten accepted into a 4-year school and everything, and that school was in the past. I did end up telling her about it, and she laughed. She was like, "Oh my God, you should have gone to the court." She was like, "You really, really should have." And so she was on my side. And she also thought it was stupid that he, you know, accused me of plagiarism for something like that. So, but I did think at the time that she was going to be mad and be like, "Well, you should have put that extra quotation mark. You should have double checked." I don't know.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
That's
He
okay. It
Yeah.
was
was
such
like,
a really sucky professor.
yeah, but it was like 3 years ago now, so I'm fine. My trauma has healed.
I'm
One thing
happy to hear that.
I just want to mention one thing. A lot of professors, I mean, even a lot of teachers in high school, they like the people who take their jobs very, very seriously are usually the same people who just like don't give a fuck about their job in the sense of like they're so like they probably just feel like bitter, or, like has some that type of like negative emotion towards their job and like towards kids as like a whole. which might be the reason why they became a teacher or professor, or maybe they got it like as throughout the years of staying in the same profession because like they don't get paid enough, like whatever the case might be. So they'll make it their job to make their students a life like a living hell, literally on earth. So take that into like not don't let that deter you from going to college, but like you really like just prepare yourself like at least I guess like mentally prepare yourself to have some really like shitty teachers because someone will just make your life a living hell for literally no reason. Like I think Sarah said it earlier, like a teacher made them to where they had like three tests that have like worth 30% each test. That's 90% of your grade right there. Like stuff
Yeah.
like that is like insane. So just, make sure you go on that. I think it's like rate my professor.
Yes, Rate My Professor. That is
Go on
such a
that.
helpful
Yeah.
website.
Yeah, go on that and just make sure you I mean, like, it's not always true. Sometimes people give people bad reviews because they got a bad grade. So I mean, don't take it with a grain of salt, but it's better to use it than use nothing because some teachers is just be like, geez, because that teacher right there is a crazy teacher. Like I would
Yeah.
that low key, you could sue that dude for like for some because that has to be some type of like illegal activity. No way he just brought you to some secluded place and was like started threatening you. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
But most like seasoned professors, like if they've been teaching there for a few years, then they more than likely have, a ton of ratings on Rate My Professor. So, um
Yeah.
if they've got like hundreds of reviews, then they're definitely, you can trust Rate My Professor. But there are some that, if it's their first year teaching or whatever, then, you kind of just get thrown in there and hope for the best.
Yeah.
There are some teachers too that will like threaten their students and use their students to like boost their rating on
Yeah.
Rate Your
Yeah.
Professor.
Yes,
So
they'll
be
be like,
wary of those people too. Those weirdos.
yeah, they'll
Or
be
they
like,
write their own.
if you give me a good rating on Rate My Professor, then I'll give you an extra 5 points on your final or something like that. I've seen professors do that.
Yeah. So corny.
I had one professor. He just joined Instagram. I don't even know. It was like a artsy photography page or something. But he was like, if you follow me on Instagram, I'll give you 15 bonus points on your final. Because he was trying to get like a
Ew.
thousand followers or something. He was a
That
weirdo.
sounds actually kind of funny.
Did
Yeah,
you
I mean,
follow him?
yeah, I did. That's extra points on a final.
Hell yeah.
I
Yeah,
would do,
especially
as long as it's something like ethical or not like creepy or weird. If you offer me extra points on a test, I'm gonna do it. I don't care what it is. I'll follow you on Instagram. I'll show up to like, your
Bar
whatever,
mitzvah.
your Christmas party, your student Christmas party. Um, a lot of people, or I had people like volunteering or professors who like were involved in like theater and stuff around us, and he'd be like, if you come see me in my show, in my play, I'll give you extra points. I'd do that.
I think this
yeah.
year, one of my teachers, they have it to where if you send me a picture of a baby sloth before the final, you'll get like 5 extra points. It's some random shit.
Oh
Kind of
my
funny.
God. I love it when they have like cute, easy things like that. I had one teacher say, flip your test over and draw a picture of a cat on the back of your final for an extra 5 points or something like that.
Yeah.
I love it when they just want to give you extra points for just no stupid reason.
Hell yeah.
Damn, your teacher sounds so fun.
Um,
Mine's was kind of basic. I once had a math professor that was just like just write bonus. Like they would never explicitly say it because you know how some people skip over the directions in
Yeah.
the first part of the directions. It's just like and you'll get bonus 5 points. That works. I would like to draw a cat though,
Yeah, that was pretty cool. My cat looked
but
bad though, but that's okay.
but speaking of teachers who try to make your life hell, um, it kind of like relates to my topic. So I just want to make sure did everyone, get their stuff out?
Yeah. Yeah, we're ready for you.
Okay, so I had this teacher in high school. She she was incredibly mean. Like every single day when she came into the classroom, she had an attitude with something and she was just not very understanding. And it was a language arts class. And so language arts was my favorite subject at the time. And there was this one time where we had to do a project at the end of the year. We had to like create a poster, and I had you had to do it with a partner. And so we had 2 days to do it. And I did majority of it. We both did majority of it the first day, but the second day they just didn't show up. They were in school, but uh they weren't with us. And since it was towards the end of the year, it was around the time where like classes at my school, if you got a certain grade, you can like be exempt from class
Yeah, we did
and
that
stuff like
too.
that. So I I guess that's what happened to them with one class. And but for some reason they didn't show up. And they didn't show up until the end. And I was pretty pissed because it was hard for me to finish my poster because they weren't there. And I had to present it all on my own. And I got a D, even though she knew the situation that my partner was not there
Oh my
and
gosh.
had most of the material. My partner had most of the material with them, but I got a D. And she was just I will always dislike this woman. And my friend, my best friend, anytime he and I talk about her, we just always get angry. Like it's easy for me to hate people, but for him, it's not so. So you know when he hates someone, they're a bad person.
Right.
And so like that class really ruined my mental health. It made me feel horrible because she was such a harsh grader and she was always so unhappy that I just hated going to school because I didn't want to be around her and I didn't want to like risk getting a bad grade for something that she wasn't happy with. And my point is I've had annoying teachers in college, but they've never been this bad. So I think that high school is a lot harder than college, especially since in high school you're relatively young. You're like that's when puberty is kind of like going into motion and you're just like not very in tune with your emotions. When teachers treat you bad in high school, it just ruins you. Like I
Yeah.
was not at a good point in my life when I was in high school. And
And then
oh,
there's really nothing you
sorry.
can do about it too.
I forgot about the trigger warning. This is
Oh,
where we go into some dark, semi dark things. I'm not going to go into like detail, but sorry, trigger warning. Sorry. Yeah.
gotcha, gotcha.
But yeah, I was just not in a good place. A lot of my thoughts were self-harm related. It just wasn't an enjoyable experience for me. And the only my only safe havens were my good teachers. Like my physics teacher, she was really nice. Anytime she saw me feeling down, she always pulled me to the side and pulled me outside and would ask me if I was okay because there would be days where I would physically not look okay. And I her and I still very much respect her and I hope she's doing well, but like this is my advice. If school is tough, I'm not going to say just try to get through it. Try to communicate with as much people that support you as possible, especially during high school, because that's when you're forming into being an adult. Try to just interact with your peers a lot. I can't stress this enough. Just try to interact with your peers.
I agree. Yeah. Because when you get into like a dark, secluded place, it's so much easier to get pulled out of that if you have help and if you have, peers and like people who love you and care about you. If they know that you're going through that, then they are, 9 times out of 10 going to be able to help you and help, get you out of that funk, pull you out of that dark place. If they don't know, then they can't help you, type of thing.
Yeah, 100% exactly. And don't be angry at your friends that don't know what to tell you either, because you do also have to remember that, they are growing as well. So be sure to also not only confide in your friends, but confide in teachers that you trust as well.
Yeah, finding good teachers who will be there for you emotionally is such a blessing.
Yeah. I had a few of those in high school. I will say about like the peers and stuff. A lot of people in college they call like a trauma bond, where like people don't like us. I guess
A
like a
certain
specific
professor.
teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like maybe they all like it's like the whole class failed, so we're all in the same boat. Like things like that. That forms a lot of close friends because it's like let's study together or whatever the case might be.
Or
So
let's
things like
complain
that
about
does
that
help.
teacher together.
Yeah, I was gonna say because that teacher that Dorsey was dealing with, let's say in a different scenario, let's say like a lot of people are having the same trouble with that teacher. If all of y'all go to like the dean if you're in college or something like that, or y'all go to like the principal in high school, and y'all all like voice your opinions, maybe tell your parents to come up to the school, you can cause actual change. So if that teacher's an actual bad teacher, you can get them. I'm not saying it's good to like let's get them fired, but like they have to change their ways. Like you're teaching multiple students a day, like hundreds of students a day. You can't be going around making their lives a living hell just because like maybe your life is bad or whatever the case might be. So yeah, it's always good to, try to confide and have friends and talk to your parents, talk to a trusted counselor, teacher, things like that. And you never know. Stuff you can make big changes you would never know if you didn't try. So yeah.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Another thing, I want to go back to what Sarah said. Please do dual enrollment instead of AP classes.
Uh
Yes.
Don't
yeah.
get me wrong. I loved most of my AP teachers, but it is useless
Yeah.
when you get out of high school. Do dual enrollment instead. Please, please, please just do dual enrollment.
Literally, the only AP class that I had that I could pass the AP test enough to give me college credit was AP Music Theory. And I didn't have I didn't want a music degree. Like I didn't want, music is a great hobby, but I that's just not what I, wanted to do with my career. So it was
Mm,
useless for me. It really was. And if I did really want to go that route, then it would have been so much better to dual enroll in a music theory class so that I would have been guaranteed that college credit. Because the thing about dual enrollment is you are so much more likely to actually get college credit, whereas an AP class, you have to take the class and then pay money and then pass a super hard test. And then, even then, a college can deny it and be like, oh no, because you didn't take that class with us. So, we don't know if you are really that good at it. So many colleges actually do deny AP credit. So, dual enrollment over AP any day.
Ew, really?
Yeah,
I would get so annoyed. I
yeah.
paid money to take a test and you're telling me you're not even going to take it? Are you kidding?
yeah, it really
And
depends.
AP, you always have to pay money because you always, unless I think there are some like federal grants for people,
Reduced.
like if you
Yeah.
get reduced lunch or something, then I think you get reduced testing fees too. But
Yeah.
you still almost always have to pay for an AP test, whereas dual enrollment, at least at my school, at my time, it might be different now, but at the time it was free.
This is like a small gripe. That's the thing. I don't know. That's why when people say college is really a scam, there's so much stuff around it like people just don't think about because the whole dual enrollment and AP thing. So for AP, if y'all don't know what AP is, just like maybe like the real young people, AP is you take a class, right? You have to pay for like they said and all kinds of stuff like that. But at the end, there's like a range of scores. I think it's like 1 to 5.
Yeah,
And majority of the time, you need to get a 3 or higher to even get credit. But for some schools, a 3 won't cut it. So maybe you need to get a 4. So maybe you need to get a 5 to even get credit for it. So it just depends. So but the thing with dual enrollment as well is that dual enrollment doesn't always transfer over depending on the school. So like let's
yeah,
say you're trying to go to a private school, if you did dual enrollment, sometimes they won't take they won't take those classes, but they would have took it if you took AP of that and then vice versa. So like you might take AP and then like they said a school might be like, we can't take it because you didn't take it with us, or you got a 3, we need a 4. So it's like both ways it could fuck you over. So just make sure whatever college you're looking at, you look at what they accept. So if they take only AP, take AP. If they only take dual or if they take dual enrollment along with AP, man, you might as well just go over the dual enrollment route because it is cheaper and that's a guaranteed credit. And it's just annoying because it's like you can really be fucked over in so many different ways by taking those tests. And I hate AP so much because that's so true. You're not only are you paying for to take the class, the fact that you can go through that whole semester and you can have like a hundred in the class, a straight hundred, and then you take the test and maybe you're just not a good test taker because there's a lot of people like that in high school who have test anxiety. So like they're really good at the class, like the homework, things like that, the quizzes and stuff. But when it comes to taking tests, they get like huge anxiety and they start making the easy mistakes on the test, so they get bad grades. So it's like someone who has like an A in the class has bad test anxiety, and like the bigger the test, the bigger the anxiety. So an AP test, you can only imagine. So they go in there, make a lot of mistakes, get like a two, and that whole class is for naught. So you know what I'm so like just make sure you know what you're doing, even in high school, because it all depends like what what kind of college you're going to go to. But yeah,
Yeah, def. Please don't be scared to like ask for advice, especially when you're in high school,
yeah,
because they I don't for me, I feel like my teachers, even though they were cool, they did not prepare me good enough for the test itself.
Right.
So don't be scared to ask questions either.
And a lot of times, if you know what college you want to go to, you can find um, resources on their website, like whether it be getting in touch with an advisor there already, um, like through email, registration. There's so much stuff. Like if you reach out to the college that you want to go to, you will more than likely be able to get in touch with someone and get advice, get registration advice, um, AP versus dual enrollment advice, stuff like that.
Yeah, when I was in school, I barely utilized my counselors. Be sure to utilize your counselors. They could
Yeah,
give you some good advice. I
I
mean,
I
I
wish
turned
I did that more
fine, but
too.
yeah, definitely. I think I would have, I think my high school experience would have been better if I had confided them a little bit more. I think I did it too little too late type of situation.
Yeah, yeah,
I
But
definitely. I think another thing I would say though is I wish those officials would do a better job like reaching out to students because like I feel like they're just kind of they make themselves seem so distant. So I guess student like let's say someone's getting bullied or just having trouble in school in general, they always feel like I can't reach out to them because like maybe they won't take me seriously. I know a lot of people would go to counselors 'cause we had really bad counselors at our school personally. So someone will be getting bullied or someone might be going through like a depressive state and be having like like very dangerous thoughts and they would go to them for help and they would like blow them off or be like, "Oh, like maybe you just need to study harder." Just like being
yes,
very dismissive.
dude. They would
So yeah,
always bring up your grades. Grades have nothing
yeah,
to do with how your mental health is doing.
yeah. But I
Yeah,
wish we could get some better mental health reform from within like teaching officials. There's way better reform because no way a student comes up to you and goes, "Oh, and I'm having these thoughts like." My life is not going good right now. You bring up their grades on the computer and being like, "Oh, well, you have a C in in art. Maybe that's the reason." Like, bros, no, you're making it worse, way worse.
yeah,
Yeah, but still try to confide if you can, and like you always have your parents. Like at least I hope you have your parents. You know, ask your parents for help of anything.
yeah, exactly. I think for my thing, that was it. I don't want to go into too much detail of it. Yeah.
that's
No, that's
understandable.
valid. That's valid.
I hope everyone who's listening who's in high school or even younger maybe, I hope you can kind of take all of this advice and use it towards your college experience. um you know just don't be hesitant to reach out to people, get help. That's what the adults in your life are there for. um and also just keep in mind that we talked about our college experiences, and you can talk to any other human being in the world who's gone to college, and their experience is going to be different. So,
Yeah,
we just wanted to talk about ours specifically. If you go to college, you might have a different experience, and that's fine. Um, but yeah, I think that's all we've got for today.
so that's a whole dub. That sounds good.
Yes. Okay. Um, so that's going to be it for the Certified Crybabies featuring
Yeah,
Des podcast for today.
thank you for
Um,
having me.
this
Having me.
hopefully is going to be going up on the 21st because Dorsey and I are trying to get back into the schedule that we were doing in 2021, where we're hopefully trying to upload every 7th and every 21st of every month. So, fingers crossed it works out. And yeah, leave us a comment. Let us know what else you'd like to hear from us. I know that we've got a few more like reading from subreddits segment planned. Um, leave us a comment. Let us know who else you want to see on Certified Crybabies.
Pan,
And
pan.
yeah, Pan definitely, Taco and Apollo are
Yeah,
like the top three that I want to get in here to
can't
talk
wait for
to.
pan.
Pan, I'm gonna
I can't.
need I'm gonna need a drink if if
Couple.
Pan's coming.
I'm scared of Pan.
I'm
It's
scared of
really
Pan.
me.
Yeah, he's something else.
But thank you for coming, Jez.
Yes, it was
I'm
so good
honestly
having
honored.
you. And this
I'm
definitely won't be the last time that you're on the Certified Crybabies podcast
say
because
less. Part
it
two.
was great. Yes,
I
part
got
two coming. Um, I definitely want to get you in on one of our 18 plus episodes. I feel like that would be just a riot.
we, we already talked about some ideas.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, different episode, different episode. But
Mhm.
yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to our podcast, and we will see you guys next time.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.